Good afternoon and welcome to Vinny's Take. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but this one is going to focus on the college football playoff. As you see behind me on my paused television screen, the 2018 college football playoffs have just been announced. If you've been following my channel roll, you know I'm both a Georgia Bulldog and a Notre Dame fan. I am not doing this video to complain about what happened to Georgia and how they got left out. Georgia lost the game yesterday, bottom line. In a 4-team playoff, I don't disagree. I wouldn't have been upset had Georgia made it, but I understand why they didn't. However, I have been saying this for longer than the college football playoff has been around, for probably 25 years, that there should be a 16-team playoff. And before everybody goes nuts, oh, that's too much, that's too many, there's several arguments that get brought up. First of all, is teams playing during the Christmas break. Don't college basketball teams play? Don't college hockey teams play around then? What, college football players are better than basketball, hockey, whatever other sports are playing at the time, swimming, I don't know, gymnastics, whatever's playing. The other argument is, I keep putting my hand over the camera. Okay, the other argument being on the sheer number of games. Well, it's only a problem if you keep winning. And if you keep winning, the players are going to want to play those games. In a 16-team playoff, you would play 4 games to win the championship. So you would end up with a 16 or 17 game schedule, much like, but college basketball teams play 30. Now, granted, I understand that college football is more physical, but college hockey plays like 30 games. So anyway, college hockey is pretty freaking physical. If you've never played hockey, which I haven't, I have a lot of respect for those who can skate, wear pads, and hit and all that. All right, I only have the top 6, so I'm going to use last week's rankings to base what a 16-team playoff would look like. And one more thing before I get started. This weekend, December 1st, was the conference championship. In a 16-team playoff, it still would be. Next weekend is the Heisman Trophy winner. It still would be. The round of 16, the Sweet 16, if you would be December 5th, or probably December 13th, 14th, 15th this year. The Elite 8 being December 21st and 22nd, 20th, 21st, 22nd. The Final 4 would be December 29th, just like it is now, with the national championship being the first Monday, second Monday in January 7th, just like it is now. Now, in the first round, the first 2 rounds actually, the home team would host. Then, once you get into the Final 4, you do it like you do now. And just to keep everybody happy, we have 64 bowl games, or 32 bowl games now. You still would have those exhibition bowls, just like they are now, exhibition bowls where the teams that didn't make the playoffs get it. Now, where do I come up with the 16 teams? Well, first of all, in college football, there are 10 conferences. The Power 5 and the other 5, or the Group of 5, as they call them. And the way it's set up right now is for those teams, it's not fair. If you're a blue chip athlete getting recruited, and Fresno State's come calling, and USC is come calling, where are you going to go? You're going to go to USC, because Fresno State has no chance of ever winning a national championship. Even if you are from Fresno, California, you grew up waiting for the Carrs and the Bulldogs, Derek and David Carr, and the Bulldogs, whatever the Silicon Valley, that V or whatever it is, you're going to go to USC if you're a blue chip athlete because you want the chance to win the Heisman Trophy, which you don't get in the smaller schools. You want the chance to win a national championship. And I'm just using Fresno and USC as an example, because it could be anywhere. It could be Penn State versus Temple. It could be Ohio State versus Dayton. Florida versus Central Florida. There's a good argument there. Central Florida, undefeated 2 years in a row, and yet they're not ever going to be able to play for a national championship the way the system is. So in a 16-team playoff, your 10 conference champions would be in. You then would have 6 at-large bids assembled the same way using the same formula, the college football rankings they do now. So here are your 10 conference champions. In the AAC, Central Florida, getting in a playoff, which they deserve. The Pac-12, well, they won the championship game, and that's, you do what you have to. Washington Huskies. The SEC, the Alabama Crimson Tide. The ACC, the Clemson Tigers. The Big 12, the Oklahoma Sooners. The Big 10, the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Mountain West, the Fresno State Bulldogs. the MAC, Northern Illinois, Conference USA, Alabama Birmingham or UAB, and the Sun Belt Appalachian State. And now those last three teams, or those last four teams, if you include Fresno State, because they are ranked, but the three below aren't ranked. Everybody's roller eyes. Oh, they have no chance of winning. They have no chance. You ever watch college basketball playoffs? You ever seen a 15 take down a 2 or a 14 take down a 3? It can happen, especially in football. Now, your 6 at-large teams. Obviously, Notre Dame. They got in here. They're ranked number 3. They would have to be one of the at-large teams. Next, Georgia. They pulled the 5th ranking by the college football rankings. And number 6, well, Ohio State's already in. So, let's see. According to last week's CFB rankings, the Michigan Wolverines, the Florida Gators, the LSU Tigers, and the Penn State Nittany Lions would round out your 16-team playoff. I don't think there'll be much change when they announce the top 25. So your playoffs in the first round would look something like this. The Northern Illinois Huskies at the Alabama Crimson Tide in the first round. The Appalachian State, what are they, Mountaineers, at the Clemson Tigers. A little regional battle down there. Alright, sorry, I lost internet connectivity because we use Spectrum, and, well, it is what it is. Okay, so where was I? The UAB Blazers at the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It gives some of these smaller schools that did win the smaller divisions a chance to grow their schools, grow their conferences, and go play on the big stage. The 13 versus 4 matchup would feature the Fresno State Bulldogs at the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma can tell you all about what it's like to play a Mountain West Conference, Mountain West Conference champion in a bowl game. And they would probably not take Fresno State lightly. The 12 versus 5 matchup is the Penn State Nittany Lions at the Georgia Bulldogs. What a great matchup that would be. The 11 versus 4 is the Washington Huskies at the Oklahoma Sooners. The 10 versus, is that where I am? 10 versus 6 would feature the LSU Tigers going up against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Wow. The 9 versus 7, the Florida Gators versus the Michigan Wolverines. No, that's not right. The 10 versus 7. Sorry, 10 versus 7. And the 9 versus 8 is the... How did I get Florida? Hold on. Ohio State is 6. We know that. They would play the 11, which is Washington. 7 is, according to last week's rankings, Michigan. So they would play 10, which is LSU. So LSU, Michigan. The 8-9, okay. The 8-9. The Florida Gators versus the Central Florida Knights. So another regional matchup. And using last week's rankings, Central Florida would be the 8th seed. So they're the lowest seed undefeated team, and they get a shot against the Florida Gators. So anyway, a 16-team college football playoff can happen. If you like it, share this video. Give me comments what you think. And let us all know. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Vinny Vincent, and you're not.
Your chance at the national championship. #1. It's really